नमस्कार बच्चों, once again वेलकम बैक। हम लास्ट क्लास में बहुत सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स के बारे में देख रहे थे। नाउ इन टुडेज क्लास वी विल सी अ न्यू इंटरेस्टिंग चैप्टर इन विच वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग इंफॉर्मेशंस यू विल लर्न। बहुत सारे ऐसे एक्टिविटीज है जिसके बिहाइंड जो साइंस है उस साइंस के बारे में हम देखेंगे। इस चैप्टर में से उस कॉन्सेप्ट्स के बारे में देखेंगे जिसमें साइंस का रोल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है। स्टूडेंट्स, लुक एट द स्क्रीन बिहाइंड मी वेयर यू कैन सी the two balls start moving from same place and reaches the destination, final point. Can you say which ball is moving faster? Yes, blue ball is moving faster than red ball. How would you know? It is the speed which helps us to know which object is moving faster. In the earlier class, you must have studied speed is a quantity which is used to find whether an object is moving faster or slower. So what is speed then? Speed is the distance traveled by an object in unit time. So the two balls started their journey from this place. We name this place as A and the destination as B. So the ball 1, this is ball 2. The distance between A and B, suppose we take it as 10 meter. Take it as 10 meter and the ball reaches up to the point in 5 seconds. Whereas the ball 2 reached here in 10 seconds. Now we find out which ball crossed faster or which ball moved faster. So in order to find the speed of first object, that is 1, we can say that speed 1. Speed of ball 1 is equal to the distance. What is the distance? Distance between the ball is A. The distance between A and B is 10 meter. So here the formula of speed is distance by time. Distance by time. So the distance is 10 meter, whereas the time taken to cover up to the B position is 5 seconds. So by substituting this, we will get 2 meter per second. If we calculate the speed of second object, that is speed of second object, the same formula, distance by time, which is again the distance is 10 meter, whereas the time taken to cover this distance is 10 seconds. 10 seconds. So by solving this, we will get 1 meter per second. Ball 1 moves faster than ball 2 because the speed of ball 1 is 2 meter per second. The speed of ball 2 is 1 meter per second. Just now you have seen that how two objects differ in their speed, the calculations we have seen. So this will help us to understand how two objects or different objects move at a different speed. So speed is the quantity from which we can understand how fast an object is moving. Now we have to see how the object moves. What are the factors that induces or which makes an object move? In order to know this, we have to see some of the familiar activities or experiences which we deal with. Just now you have seen the video in which various games were played. In each of the game, the player is kicking off, smashing, pulling. So these are the activities involved in the games. Now we have to understand how the object moves. You can see a ball in front of me. The ball is at rest. जब इस बॉल को हम पुश करेंगे, the ball will start move. Just you can see. Can you see the ball is moving? Similarly, various other day-to-day activities which involve pushing or pulling to make an object move. In order to move an object, we need to either pull the object or push the object. Until and unless we push or pull the object, it will not move. In science, any push or pull acting on a body is known as force. Let us learn more about this force. Now, many of our activities involve picking up, throwing, jumping, pulling, pushing. All these activities can be grouped into either push or pull. Whatever the activities we perform at home or we experience can be grouped either as a pull or a push. Some of the activities given in the table you can identify. All these actions can be grouped either as a pull or push. Children, in order to understand the force in a better way, we need to see some of the experiences. What are those experiences? Now look at the picture. The first picture shows that an animation which the Norman is trying to push the box hard. After struggling, he could move the box. In the second picture, you can see that two persons are pushing the box but in opposite direction. When the two persons are engaged in pushing the box in opposite direction, then the box does not move. Now in the third case, you can see that two persons are pushing the box, but finally the direction of movement of box is to the right hand side, which shows that the force applied by this person is more than the person who is standing that side. Children, now we have seen three different cases. From these cases, we try to understand what is force, how the force acts on a body, and what are the various things associated with the force, and we explore these further. Now in these three cases, we can say that
Strength of the force.
depends upon the magnitude of the force. It's not that how hard you are pushing on an object or how hard you pull an object. It doesn't matter. All the push or a pull exerted on an object will not make the object move. Suppose if you are trying to push the wall, even though you applied your efforts, you could not make the wall move. Similarly, various other experiences you can see. In the second case, what you have seen is two persons were pushing the box to opposite to each other, but they couldn't make the box move. So what factor of force makes an object move? This is what we have to learn in this class. It is the resultant force or the net force. Dear children, you may be having an experience of lifting school benches. When you carry the bench alone, it is very difficult for you to carry lift. But when two students are engaged in lifting the box, you could make it very easily. How? In that particular case, what happens when the two persons are engaged in lifting the table, the force exerted by you and your friend adds up. As a result of this, the force acting on the bench or the body is just added up and increased as a result of this, it could be lifted very easily. When more forces are acted on a body, all the forces just add up and the resultant force what we have will be acted on that particular object. In the second case, you have seen that two persons are pushing the box but opposite to one another. In that case, the box did not move. Why? From one side the person is applying force, from the other end another person is applying force. When the equal amount of force is applied on that object, then the object did not move. So the resulting force is the difference between the force. The difference is 0. Suppose the person A is applying 100 Newton of force. On the other end, the person is applying same amount of force, that is 100 Newton of force, but in opposite direction. The resultant force will become 100 minus 100. So 0 force is acting on that body. That is why the object did not move in the second case. Now you got the point? Now the third case. Two persons are pushing the box in opposite direction. Say for an example, person A is pushing the box with 100 Newton and person B is applying force with 150 Newton force. As a result of this, what happens? The force, resultant force is 150 minus 100. So 50 Newton force is excess, more force is there. With that force, the object starts moving from this end to this end. So it is the difference, the net force acting on a body is the difference between the two forces acting on a body. Now we will learn when does the force come into play. In the picture you can see that a man is standing behind the car. Whether the car starts moving? No. Now see the second clip where the person is applying force on the car. As a result of this, the car starts moving. So from this we can say that the object will start move only when the force is applied on it. So the force come into play only when there is an interaction between two objects. Now we will see what can a force do to an object. So in order to understand this, see the picture. From this we try to understand the various effects of force on an object. When the force is acting on a body, it can make a stationary object move. जिसके मतलब है ऑब्जेक्ट जो रेस्ट पोजीशन में है, उस रेस्ट पोजीशन से फोर्स अप्लाई करने पर ऑब्जेक्ट को मूव करा सकते हैं. Now you can see here you find an object. Now the object is at rest. When I apply force on this object, it will start to move. Can you see this? So when the force is applied on an object, it can make the object move. Suppose if the object is already in motion, as you can see the clip where the kids used to play with old tires. So in our days also we used to play like this. You might have heard from your parents, they were also used to play like this. Now in this case, you have to understand the science behind. What is that science behind? As the tire is rolled, the tire is already in motion. In order to continue its motion, what the kids used to do is they hit once again. When it is hit, when the tires are hit, then it further increases its speed. So by applying force, the object which is already in motion can increase its speed. So from this we can understand that when force is applied to an object which is already in motion, can increase its speed further. So we can say that a force can increase the speed of an object. Thirdly, you can see the clip. It can change the direction of a moving object. During the cricket, you may be very interested in watching cricket and playing cricket. When a bowler delivers a ball, when the ball is released from the hand, the batsman used to hit or deflect the ball by applying force. So here in this case, applying force can change the direction of the ball. Similarly, in the volleyball game, you can see how the player deflects the ball. So from this we can say that by applying force, we can change the direction of an object. So a force can change the speed of an object. A force can make an object, stationary object, move. A force can change the direction of a moving object. Now we see the second effect of motion, that is applying force. That is, a force can change the shape of an object. Now it has a definite shape. Now what I am going to do is, I am going to apply force. When I apply force, as you can see, its shape changes. Can you see this? When I apply force, its shape changes. When I apply more force on it, what you can see is it will burst. So more force should not be applied on the balloon. Less force will change its shape, whereas applying more force will make the balloon burst out. Like this, various other examples you may be familiar. In your households, your mom used to apply force to make a dough, make chapatis and all. So by applying force, an object can change its shape. Now we will learn the different types of force. Dear children, in order to lift an object or in order to push a box, we need to apply force, isn't it? So when I apply a force on the object, where does the force come from? The force is coming from your muscles, the muscular energy. So the force which is applied with the help of muscles, muscular force is acted on the object to make the object move. So this force is called muscular force. So the muscular force is acted on the object to make the object in motion. So such type of force is known as contact force. One more example of contact force is when I roll down a ball, it rolls, it moves for distance, and after traveling distance, it stops. Why does the ball stop? It is due to a frictional force which you had already learnt. Friction is the opposing force which acts on a body. So when the ball is rolling down the ground, frictional force is acting on the body, on the ball, opposite to the direction of motion of the ball. As a result of this, as the ball moves for a while, due to this opposing force, the ball stops. This kind of force is known as frictional force, and the frictional force needs contact. So frictional force is also an example of contact force. Now we see another type of force where the contact will not be there, but you can see the motion, you can see the movement. What are those? Now look at the screen in which a video is shown in which an object attracts another object without being contact each other. यानी दो ऑब्जेक्ट जो है आपस में कांटेक्ट नहीं हो पा रहा है, still the object moves. The force acting between the two objects is non-contact force, as the objects are not in touch with each other. This kind of force is called non-contact force, and the force what you have seen in the video is magnetic force. Another example of non-contact force is electrostatic force. For this you can see the video in which electrostatic force is shown. So in this, a straw or a plastic pen is rubbed on your hair or a woolen cloth. When it is rubbed with a woolen cloth, it acquires a charge. Here in this case, what happens when you keep the charged pen or the rubbed pen in front of the bits of paper, then the pen attracts the bits of paper. This shows that some sort of charge is acquired on the pen when we rubbed it with a cloth. Though it is not in contact with the bits of paper, it could attract the bits of paper. So here also there is no contact between the bits of paper and the charged pen. The force acting between the charged pen and the bits of paper is called electrostatic force. As you can see, this is a rubber ball. When I drop this ball, what will happen to this ball? Will the ball come down or it will rise up? Let us see. When I drop the ball, it has fallen down. It is because of another kind of force. It is, what is that? It is gravitational force. That means the earth attracts every other object towards itself. This is known as gravitational force, or simply we call it as gravity. Now you may be asking, only the earth attracts other objects? No, children. Every object in the universe attracts every other object with a force. That force is known as gravitational force, or simply we call it as gravity. More about gravitational force you will learn in class 9. Now we move on to the next topic. So far we have learned that what is force, how force acts on different bodies, and what are the different types of force. Now we will learn what is pressure. Pressure is the force acting on a unit area. From this activity we can understand what is pressure.
Now children, I have taken a stick. Can you see this? Now when you see the area from here to here, the larger area you can see, when I apply force, then you can see what is the pressure. So when I apply force, you are seeing some sort of mark, but the mark is not clearly visible, or we can say that the mark is not so clear. So the pressure exerted while applying my force is not large extent. So when I apply same amount of force to the pointed end, now we will see what will be the pressure. Here we can see a mark. So this is the mark of the larger end and this is the mark of the smaller end. That means this is the mark formed by the pointed end which has a lower area. So when I applied force with a larger area, then the pressure is very less, as you can see here. When I applied equal amount of force to the pointed end which has a very less area, then you can see how depth it has got. So if the area is increased, then pressure exerted will be low. Whereas if the area of contact is decreased, same amount of force can make a larger pressure. From this it is clear that when area is increased, then pressure will be less. Whereas area is decreased, then pressure will be more. When equal amount of force is applied on different area, then the pressure difference we can see.
From the activity, I believe that you understood how the pressure is different when the area is, or area of contact is increased. So pressure is the force acting on a body in unit area. Suppose if the force applied on a particular area is more, then the pressure will also be more. as we have seen that solid exerts pressure. Now we have to see whether liquids and gases also exert pressure. In order to know this, we have to see another activity. From this activity, we try to understand how liquids and gases exert pressure on the vessels where they are kept. To do this, I have taken a water can, 2-liter water, as you can see. From this activity, we will try to understand how the water kept inside the bottle exerts pressure on the container where it is kept. From this activity, we will learn 3 important concepts about the pressure exerted by the liquids on the container where it is kept. As the water is kept inside the bottle, where does the pressure exerted on this container, whether upward direction or downward direction or on the walls of the container? These are the 3 things we will learn through this activity. Now dear children, just before we have seen that water exerts pressure towards downward direction. Now we will see whether water kept in the container exerts pressure on the walls. So in order to do this, I have taken a small safety pin. With this, I try to pierce. I make a small hole through which it will escape, the water will escape. Now you see what happened to the container when I pierce with a small pin and make a small hole. And before that, now the water, the depth of the water is from here to the bottom. As the depth increases, the pressure will also increase. So together we will learn, when I pierce this container with a small pin, water will come out, which will show that the water exerts pressure on the walls. And in the second case, we will also see that when 2 different holes are made on the walls of the container, the water will come out, but there will be difference in the pressure. That also we can see. And further we will see that at a particular depth, the pressure remains same. That means at each depth level, the pressure of the liquid remains same. As the depth gets increased, then the pressure also will increase. As the depth is decreased, then the pressure will also decrease. Now we will see what happens when this bottle is pierced with a small pin, and I'll try to make a small hole. So when I pierce it, as you can see that water is flowing from here. Can you see this? That means the water which is kept in the container exerts pressure on the walls. So with that pressure, water is coming out. In the second case, we will see, now I have made a hole at the top. Now I try to make a hole somewhere here. Now you can see that here just water is coming out, and here with some more pressure. That means as the depth increases, the pressure will also increase. Now once again I try to make a hole somewhere here. You will find that, as you can see, the water, the pressure over here is less as compared to the pressure here, bottom. That means pressure gets increased when the depth is increased. If I try to make another hole at the bottom, the water coming out from the bottom is with great pressure. From this activity, it is clear that when the depth is increased, then the pressure also increases. One more thing what we need to see is the pressure at the same depth are equal. So in order to show this, I'll make 2 different holes at the same depth. Now you can see that the water coming out from this hole and this hole are with same pressure. This shows that at a particular depth, the pressure of liquid on a container, or the pressure exerted by the liquid on the container, remains same. So at equal depth, the pressure is same. As the depth increases, the pressure exerted by the liquid on the container will also increase. From the activity, I hope you understood how the pressure increases as the depth increases. Now we will see about atmospheric pressure. As we know that the atmosphere is full of air, And in the previous section we have seen that gases also exert pressure. So in the atmosphere gases are present. So obviously it's clear that the gases present in the atmosphere will also exert pressure. So the pressure exerted by the atmosphere on the surface of their contact is known as atmospheric pressure. So far we have seen that what is force and what are the different types of force, how a force can make changes to different objects, and later on we have seen that what is pressure and the effect of pressure on solid, liquid and gases. So based on this, I would like to give some easy home assignments which you can practice at home. Here is your home assignments.